welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving headfirst, maybe burrowing headfirst, into one of sci-fi's absolute monsters.
You mean the sandworms of Dune, Shai-Hulud.
Exactly. These colossal creatures from Arrakis, they're legendary,
Yeah.
totally unforgettable. But the big question we're asking today is, could something like that, could it actually exist?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack here. It's our mission for this deep dive, really. We want to look at how fiction, maybe more often than we think, mirrors nature.
Okay.
And specifically, explore the surprising real-world threads behind Dune's sandworms. We've looked at ancient fossils. We've looked at the incredible cinematic impact.
Right.
We'll basically pull out the key insights from our sources so you get right up to speed on this really fascinating topic.
Okay, I'm ready. Because our sources suggest something pretty wild here.
Yeah.
The terrifying, behemoth of Arrakis, it might not be entirely made up.
No, it seems nature itself cooked up something, well, eerily similar way, way back, over 500 million years ago.
500 million, wow.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? This idea of fiction echoing nature isn't like brand new, but with the sandworm, the connection could be much more direct than we ever really thought.
So what are we talking about? What was this real creature?
We're talking about these ancient organisms called Selkirkia worms.
Selkirkia worms. Okay, but Dune's sandworms are, they're planet-shakingly huge. How could a real thing from that long ago be eerily similar? What were they actually like?
Well, according to Dr. Carmen Nanglou, she's a paleontologist over at Harvard's Museum of Comparative Zoology, these things were around during the Cambrian period.
Okay, Cambrian. That's ancient.
Over 500 million years ago, yeah. And you're right, Dune's worms are enormous. Selkirkia, tiny, just a few centimeters long.
Ah, okay. So not quite the giants then.
Not in size, no, but don't let that fool you. They were apparently incredibly fierce, their bodies.
Yeah.
Covered in these, curved spines, and they were predators hunting tiny marine invertebrates.
Spines? Okay, so small but tough. That does sound pretty formidable for their scale. Puts a different spin on ancient life, doesn't it?
It really does. It's not about matching the scale, It's more about that raw, predatory effectiveness, that sort of vibe, maybe.
Right.
Regardless of size.
Right.
And we know quite a bit because of this one fossil bed they found. It's in modern-day Morocco now, but back then it was a Cambrian seafloor.
Wow.
And it showed these worms weren't just a flash in the pan. They actually thrived for almost 25 million years.
25 million years. That's incredible staying power.
Absolutely. They were resilient, effective hunters. Dr. Nanglou actually said something I think is really powerful. She said, we often think the scariest creatures live in movies, but nature, especially prehistoric nature, was often far more creative and ruthless.
That's a great quote.
Isn't it? These little Selkirkia worms, just centimeters long. They were really, as she put it, nature's early answer to nightmare fuel.
Nature's nightmare fuel. I like that. What an amazing parallel from the ancient oceans to sci-fi deserts. So, okay, how do we get from these spiny little nightmares to the absolute behemoths we see on screen in Dune, Part 2? How did the filmmakers, capture that feeling?
Well, they definitely understood how to tap into that primal feeling, that sense of awe. When Denis Villeneuve put the sandworm on screen, it wasn't just, amazing CGI.
No, it felt different.
Exactly. It felt like this raw, untamed power, nature mixed with myth. It's really no surprise someone like Steven Spielberg reacted so strongly. He called Dune, Part 2, one of the most brilliant science fiction films he'd ever seen.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. And wasn't it the sandworm ride specifically that blew him away? Paul's first ride.
That was it. He called that scene cinematic poetry. And his insight was really interesting. He said Villeneuve shot the desert almost like it was the ocean.
The desert like the ocean.
Which totally elevates the sandworm, right? It's not just some monster. It's ancient, almost sacred. Spielberg even compared them to sea serpents.
Which loops back to those ancient marine worms in a strange way.
It kind of does. And Spielberg also pointed out something crucial about the film's themes. He said, despite all the sand, the film is deeply about water-sacred waters longing for life.
That's deep. Even in its absence, water shapes everything.
Precisely. And that gives the sandworms this weight, this significance beyond just being giant beasts. And when Spielberg said Paul's Ride was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen on film, that really seals it. The sandworm as a true cinematic icon.
Okay, so connecting this back to the bigger picture in Herbert's world, the sandworm isn't just a monster, clearly. it's symbolic.
Oh, absolutely. It's deeply symbolic. It represents terror, yes, but also transformation. It's a force of destruction, obviously, but it's also the source of the spice, the giver of life on Arrakis.
That balance.
That duality, yeah. That's probably why it hits so hard, why it resonates. It kind of embodies Arrakis itself, unforgiving, dangerous, but also the source of everything vital.
So tying it all together then, thinking about those ancient Selkirkia worms again,
Yeah.
what does knowing about them really add to our understanding, or maybe just our appreciation of Dune's sandworms?
Well, I think it just deepens the whole thing, doesn't it? Knowing that something like this, a sort of prehistoric blueprint, actually existed in Earth's oceans. It makes the fantasy feel rooted somehow.
Yeah, grounded in a weird way.
Exactly. It's this powerful reminder that sometimes our wildest imaginings or most fantastical creations actually have echoes in forgotten reality. The sandworm in Dune is obviously way bigger, way more everything. But its core DNA, you could say, both scientifically and maybe narratively, it comes from something real.
Evolution meeting imagination.
That's a perfect way to put it. Evolution meeting imagination. And it does make you wonder, what other creatures from mythology or sci-fi might have these surprising links back to Earth's deep past that we just haven't found yet?
Right. Which kind of brings us perfectly to our final thought for you, the listener, to sort of chew on. Maybe the next time you encounter some amazing creature in a book or a movie, maybe it flies through alien skies, maybe it burrows under, fantasy mountains. Just take a second. Consider how much of what seems purely invented, purely fantastical, might actually be an echo of our own planet's incredibly deep, incredibly strange history.
It really invites you to just marvel at the sheer creativity of nature itself, doesn't it, before we ever imagined it?